The challenges we have in the economic front are lesser than the challenges we have in the homes of the people. We have lost our identity.
Yes.
One of the greatest failures of Zanu PF is that they neglected the soul of the nation until it died a natural death. We don't have anything that is actually unifying us to identify us as Zimbabweans across all the dialects and the languages and the tribes. We don't have. What exactly do you call Zimbabwean today? We don't have a Zimbabwean dress.
Yes.
We don't have a Zimbabwean language anymore. Listen to our people talking. Most of what we are calling Shona, it's no longer our original language.
Yes.
We are now using colloquial Shona and not original Shona. Yes, we must acknowledge the Ndebeles have done a better job. They have retained their language. That is the only language that has retained its integrity. And a little bit of the minor dialects, they are reserved. But Zimbabwe is made up of more than 70% of the Shona. And so the Shona language has been diluted to an almost unidentifiable state. Look at the laws they are enacting about marriage. We don't know what is marriage anymore.
Yes.
Look at how our children are exposing their indecency everywhere, and how women who are supposed to show young girls how to live a modest life, they are the most celebrated on social media for basically indulging in the most embarrassing, vitriolic activities of life. Marombe echikadzi ndo anonzi masocialite muZimbabwe. Ni marombe echirume ndo vane mafollowers akawanda. To me, that's our greatest problem. It's easier to get a good leader, a politician, and fix electricity supply issues, fix roads, fix hospitals, fix the power of our currency issues. A president who is hardworking, who is disciplined, can do that within a shorter period of time. But fixing an identity crisis, it's going to take us more than 10 years. To me, that is the biggest failures of Zanu PF. They inherited a prostituted social structure, which they knew very well. Yes. It is un-African.
Yes.
They kept it for one reason. It was a tool of subjugation by the white monopoly colonialist government. They saw the benefits of subjugating tools, and instead of disposing them, disbanding them, decommissioning them, they perpetuated them, they preserved them, they actually gave them a new lease of life. Until today, you will find less than 1% of the people who know that there was nothing called a chief in Zimbabwe. It's not an African establishment. And this is why when we hear the president saying, we want to greet mambo edu, talking about Chief Charumbira, Chief Mutasa, Chief so and so. Nobody knows that the word chief does not mean mambo. The word mambo and ishe. In English, it's king.
Yes.
We don't have madzimambo in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
We have district administrators, errand boys.
Yes.
The Moffards and the Jamesons and the Cecil John Rhodes when they colonized us, they disintegrated the monarchy systems of Africa to consolidate power over a contemporary westernized central government system. So they killed our kings, abolished the kingdoms, and employed sellouts. And they said, you are now an informer. You are going to report to the DA. The DA was not part of our system as well. We don't have DAs in Zimbabwe. It's a colonial construction. We don't have district administrators. We don't have provincial administrators. These were instruments of colonialism implemented by the white settler regime to render us disintegrated and useless, unable to participate in political activities and in economic activities. They took our land, they took our livestock, they raped our women, they sent us to inferior reserves where there was not good soil there to do commercial farming. Then they employed sellouts and they said, you are now an errand boy for the white district administrator. You govern these villages on behalf of the district administrator. There's no more king. There's no more king in Mashingo. There's no more king in the Ndebele state. There's no more king for the Zezurus. So these people we are calling chiefs today, it's a perpetuation of instruments of colonialism. We don't have a chief before 1890, when the British South African Company marched into Salisbury, and hoisted their Union Jack, which announced the annexation of an African society. Why didn't Mugabe say we are no longer colonized? Let's go back to where we were. If we want to learn from the Western civilization, we are going to do it our way. Let's go back to the kings. Going back to the kings was going to render him less powerful because all the land was going to remain in the hands of the kings. And our values as African people were going to be preserved by the kings. It's not true that the chiefs are the custodians of tradition. It's not true. There's nothing called the chief in Zimbabwe. My chief, my boy, wemabhunu, aishandiswa kudzvanyirira vanhu vatema. Pakatoraiwa madzimambo, pakaemployiwa, pakapinzwa basa vatengesi. Ndo vakatanga kupinzwa basa rekuti vanenge vachinorevera vanhu vatema, uyu anenge ari kutengesa, uyu anenge ari vanhu vachitsekatika mumaruzevha, vatengeswa nemachief nemaheadman. Zvese zvokuti ndo vanochengeta culture hazvisi zvechokwadi. Vana Charumbira hakutorina anonzi chief Charumbira prior to 1890. Ask any chief right now when their chieftainship started. It started recently. It was not there in the original African society. Saka ukasangana chief izvezvi, wasangana nemubhoyi wemabhunu. Amo system of governance yevanhu vatema tisati tadzvanyirirwa nevarungu. So Mugabe's government should have returned us back to the setup of the African society. That's where we were going to have the king. The juniors to a king were not chiefs. Vainzi jinda ra mambo. Kwakuine mambo, kweita jinda ra mambo, kweita mukuru wedunhu kana kuti sadunhu. Kwakusina village yainzi village head. Mavillage akatangwa nemareserves. Ndo akatanga nhau dzekuti kune wedhi rekuti village. Kwaingove neumambo hwevarozvi, ndo zvanga zviriko chete. Nemisha inotongwa nejinda ramambo. Jinda ndo rainobhadhara mutero kwamambo, richinopa ripoti kuna mambo kuti dunhu rangu rakamira so.
Yes.
Ndo yanga iri setup yedu iyo. Zvemaheadman ndezvemabhunu izvi. Zvemachief ndezvemabhunu. But I'm just giving you something you can verify with history. By the way, izwi rekuti mambo arireve kuti chief ndambozvitaura. Chief charumbira havasi mambo charumbira. Ameno kuti munori kuti kudire kuti chief. But arimo mu-African culture, especially in Zimbabwe. I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Go and do a research. There was no chief before 1890. We had kings. So we abandoned our culture. And this is where we are now. We have a bigger problem. Our society has lost its identity.
Yes.
It's like a snake that has lost its head. It is just jumping all over the place. Children go to UK, they come back with the children who don't know how to speak their own language. Those who are at home, they don't even speak their own language. So they are blaming Maruku UK with our language. Ukavabvunza izvozvi havataure Shona, vantaura chibhende chakabva muchishona. Ndoya vari kuti Shona iyoyo. Wedere kuti wireless harisi reShona. Wedere kuti television harisi reShona. Hakuna Shona yakadaro. Ngatisiyanei nazvo. Let's go back to the issue. But these examples are important. I wanted you to know that a leader, not a ruler. People don't get rulers from God. God gives you leaders.
Yes.
When you have a ruler, he is not from God.